Morning, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut. I'm here with Bobby Atkins, and this is the Veterans Edition of Real Estate Jerky.
How you doing, Ed?
Doing great.
Good.
It's a new week. I'm refreshed. I was up at the cabin this last weekend.
Good for you.
Yeah, well, didn't do much.
I can say it wasn't a working weekend, right? Because I know sometimes you're up there.
Well, the most work I did was fix the two recliners, replace the cables in them.
Okay.
Because they broke. They probably broke 3 years ago, and I just leave them out, right? Because I'm lazy. And then you fix it with the cable, and you're like, gosh, now I remember how hard it is to close these things.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, my one at home is the old man's version.
There you go.
Yeah. Till the power's out.
Because I saw that. I saw a picture, I think last year, of you and what's your one dog's name?
George.
Yeah. Laying on that recliner.
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Yeah,
and not always. I think that might have been the cabin. I don't remember. The bigger recliners at the cabin. Then
gotcha.
Yeah, he likes it. He prefers to be with Marcia because there's a lot more room.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that.
Yeah. All right. So what do you want to talk about today? I think we talked beforehand, VA construction or something.
Yeah, let's talk about VA construction, man, because it's something that I personally haven't dealt with. I'm sure obviously you have, but something I'm actually interested in as well. So,
well, it just depends on the biggest issue that you run into is the lot. Because you're like, So the question is, do you own the lot or don't own the lot? If you own the lot, then we just do a refinance VA construction loan.
Okay.
So it's a refinance. You go get your plans. You have everything done. Some of them can be paid for. I always tell people, if you own the lot, go pay for your own plans. Find an architect, get it ready, so you know exactly what your budget is before we know how much you can actually. So we make sure we do the loan for the right amount.
Correct. Yeah.
Because they're going to have to go through and do look at the costs of what it's going to cost to build it and all that stuff, and that's what the architect does. Right, they help you build it, and then they'll tell you. And that we did that with our property. We actually have plans for our property and everything else, and that's when we had a construction loan going. And then COVID hit, and we just like, what are we going to do now? Who wants $1 million property these days?
Yeah, well, and that was when like lumber prices went through the roof, right?
Right, and they still costs are still there on certain things. The biggest issue, I talked about last week was transformers. They can't get transformers.
Yeah, that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Did you ever find anything else out about that?
No, we don't have the raw materials here in the United States, and we have to go overseas to get them, and they cost 2 to 3 times as much, and takes so much longer to get it. And I want to know why we can't find that materials here in the United States. I know why. Because his buddies aren't here. Let's move on. All right, back to construction.
Okay.
All right, so if you own the lot, it's a little bit easier. It's because you don't have to deal with the seller. If you don't own the lot, then you have to include it all in the purchase and have the seller of the lot understand that it's going to take a couple months to get everything in place.
Gotcha.
Or or what I always tell people, you can always buy the lot from the owner. Give them so much down, and then that kind of have them make payments. But a lot of people don't want to put 20% down and have owner carry.
Yeah,
but it depends on the price of the lot. If the lot's $25,000. What's 20%?
Well,
$5,000.
What I was going to say, I mean, most people, if they're selling, dirt lot, they're not like in a huge rush. They're not, it's not.
Well, they've had it forever.
Yeah, they're not trying to, move out of it to get into replacement property.
No, because nobody's buying it right now because of the cost of how much it costs to build.
Yeah,
it's a lot harder, So only people who are like, hey, let's do this, and then you find out, oh my goodness, my costs are so much. It's not $250 a square foot. It's like $350 to $400.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing on one of the other shows we talked about insurance. Make sure that your replacement number is correct on your insurance, because the replacement cost is so much more than what people realize these days.
Yeah. In case there's a fire, right?
Right.
With the cost of materials and everything.
Yeah. So you still want to have somebody look at that and see what it would cost to rebuild it, and make sure your insurance is up to that. And that's the only downside. So if you really want to build a house, you can go VA. It's 100% financing, just like every other VA loan.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the construction time takes a while. They have a period of time for doing it, up to 12 months. Should be done by then. And if not, you have to do extensions.
Now, here's another question. Say you build this house and a life event happens and you need to move. How long after you've occupied this house? Is it like a year?
Well, every loan document says 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
But if life events happen, that's okay.
Yeah.
What it's trying to do is keep people from going, I'm going to build this house, I'm going to live in a VA, and it's finished. Oh, I can't live in there. Let's sell it as a spec home. That's
Yeah.
what you're not supposed to do with it, right?
Then you're just a small time developer, right?
Well, the problem is VA loans are for primary residence only.
Yeah.
And there's a guy out there helping vets buy Airbnb with them.
Yeah, that's not good. That's
Well,
not a
no, and
primary
it's well,
residence.
because what does he care?
Yeah.
He's not a licensed agent.
Okay.
He's just helping. He set $5,000 for his program, how to do it and how to go through and buy, that kind of stuff.
How to commit loan fraud.
Well, I haven't went through the whole thing. I'm hoping it's not that way. But now say that you're in the service and you move to an area and you buy a house and then you get transferred out of that area. Well, then you can Airbnb that house.
Yeah, that's
depending on where it's at.
Yeah,
well, that's different. And then go buy their next house. But eventually you're going to run out of having that in entitlement. You run out of your entitlement.
Say eligibility.
Yeah. I tell you, it feels like a Monday.
Like I say,
Mike Kelly yesterday couldn't remember anything.
I was gonna say I've only had one cup of coffee so far. So
I've had multiple.
Yeah.
So I should be much better by this time. So I don't know how much you want to get into detail. The construction loan is the biggest thing I want to tell people. If you're going to build a house, make sure your relationship is solid.
With the contractor?
No, with your wife or your husband or your husband and your wife, whatever your relationship is, because I've seen divorces happen from construction loans.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of stress and things never get done on time. You just go in expecting that, right?
Right. But sometimes people fight over what they want in a house.
Oh,
you follow me? That kind of stuff. Oh, I want to. For me, I was just like, the only thing I got was it was an island instead of an L in the kitchen.
I can solve all those problems. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Just, yeah.
What do you want, honey?
Well, just say, okay, this is what go in, just like everything, go in there with an agreement. This is all right. So this is what I want to be able to do in the garage. I want to make sure this is, if you're the husband or whatever, most of the time, most people don't care. But if you're so gung-ho on this is the way it's got to be, and you don't work with each other, you're going to have a divorce. Yeah. It's just going to happen. I've been around long enough, seen a lot of these but 50% of them will end in problems.
Wow. Okay.
So make sure you go in there with an agreement of how it's going to work, what you plan on doing. All right, this is our agenda. This is what we're going to do. And you can do this anywhere. You can build these anywhere as long as it's going to be your primary residence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's not a lot to it.
Now, can the cost for utilities be rolled into that loan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
To a certain point. Because I remember one pole is 30. Well, it just depends on how far away you are from the pole.
Yeah.
Each pole is 20 to 30 grand. So when you say that, well, yeah, but if you are 5 poles away and that's 100 grand, you might not have enough in there for that.
Yeah, true.
Right. And so you got to remember it's septic, leach field, all that, depending on where you're building. If you're building in town, it's a lot easier, because everything's right there.
Yeah.
Tap into sewer, tap into gas, everything's right there. Much easier. But if you're in the middle of nowhere, it's something totally different.
For sure.
Right. I'll get more into when I say in the middle of nowhere with off-grid houses, because you can get those VAs. We'll talk about that in the next program.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
Anything else you want to go over today? It just takes time. You got to make sure, doors, windows, those kind of things were the biggest things that were the holdup. Yeah. And then anything, that's pretty much it, because lumber is way cheaper today.
Yeah. Getting back to more normal prices, right?
Right. And the other thing you might want to look at, if you're going to do this, a modular home, that would be a stick built house from a factory, and do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is something we can talk about also, because I had a phone call with the local modular manufacturer. Yeah. And it's good conversation.
The one S2A.
Yeah, the one over in.
Let's talk about the next one, because that'll be because I know we're talking construction, but when are they going to fully have their stuff up and running?
I believe they are.
Are they behind though? I heard they had a lot there in the works.
They didn't tell me that much. I'm going to go on a factory tour soon though.
Well, let me know when you go.
Okay.
I'd like to go tour it too.
Awesome, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. We'd like to keep these things under 10 minutes if possible. Sometimes we go a little long, but let's make it a great day. Bobby, thanks for being here, and thank you for being here.
Thanks so much.